You're watching This Week in Louisiana Politics with Fred Childers.
Good morning, I'm Fred Childers. We hope you're having a wonderful weekend. We want to thank you for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Politics on your local election headquarters. We have a lot of stuff to cover, so let's get started. The state capitol, which is typically quiet around this time, is once again bustling with lawmakers. The controversial special redistricting session started this week to pass a new map with 2 majority-minority districts as ordered by the court. GOP leadership made a plea to the Middle District Court for more time under the guise of public transparency, but the judge wouldn't budge. Ariel Salk reports.
Republican lawmakers making a last-ditch appeal to the U.S. District Court for the Middle District of Louisiana, asking for more time to redraw the congressional maps. That appeal again denied.
We're grateful that the judge has ruled. We do know and understand that it's a process, and we want this process to continue, but we feel good at this point of where we are.
The judge ordered legislators to pass a map with 2 majority black districts.
We were given a very clear mandate by the court that any bills that we pass should have 2 black districts. And I don't know what room there is to negotiate outside of that.
House Speaker Clay Schack-Snyder and Senate President Paige Cortez says there's not enough time.
So the question was asked earlier whether or not we can get it done. We know we can get it done. The question is, do we have the will to get it done?
Cortez told the judge making the deadline would be very unlikely, but not impossible.
The president mentioned that, listen, we can change the rules to make this process speed up. So I think it could be done.
The judge says the House Speaker's efforts were disingenuous, pointing out he is again proposing the map she already rejected. The Black Caucus says this is not the end of this battle.
I don't know that this is going to move the body to act, unfortunately. I think that they're still going to be holding out some hope that the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals or the U.S. Supreme Court is going to overturn the rulings of today.
Ariel Salk, Fox 44 News.
Now, there have been some tense exchanges between lawmakers this time around. The GOP do not want to lose a seat in Congress, but Democrats have a second wind after the Middle District took their side and the 5th District denied a stay. Republicans claim they are following the rules of redistricting with their maps, but Democrats are pushing back, pointing to the court order asking for 2 black majority districts.
Look, there's 6 districts. 6 districts in the state. You know, going from the 62, I said, you know, but the white population, according to the state, is 57%. You know, you go set 57%. How can you say that 1 out of 57, when you're 57% of the population, you want to occupy over 80% of the seats? 80%? I mean, come on now. I mean, that's not right. No, that's not fair. That's not fair under any circumstances. No one on this panel can even dream that that's fair. Senator Hewitt, you know that's not fair.
Republicans say the drawing of the maps should not be based on race. They claim that even the white legislators represent everyone who resides in their districts.
I sit there as a public servant thinking I represent 119,000 people at home, but I represent everybody at home. And nobody in my district can say they're not represented. Nobody in my district can say they can't run because I'm a white man. Nobody in my district says they can't vote because I'm a white man. I take offense to that. We draw maps based on population and federal standards, and we try to check every one of those boxes, every one of those boxes. It's not drawn for the Republicans, it's not drawn for Democrats, it's not drawn for white, black, Mexican, I don't care. It's not drawn for those purposes. But yet I have to sit here, and we have to sit here through all the road shows, through all the committee hearings, and we're told race is not the issue. But yet it is.
The tense back and forth had led to several cases of stalling the maps working through the system. The court has been adamant that the map must be in her possession by Monday or the judge will draw it. Louisiana Congressman Troy Carter is speaking up more on the maps this time around after being mostly silent in February. He is calling on state lawmakers to take action and say the math demands African Americans have another seat in Washington. Carter represents Louisiana's only majority black district, and he wants to see a change. If the districts are redrawn, it is likely the black voting age population in his district would be lower to accommodate 2 districts.
Like many in my home state, the state of Louisiana has a long, tragic history of diminishing and silencing the votes of African Americans. Yes, I stand here today with my voice to fight for democracy, and I will not be silenced.
Carter was joined by several other members of the Congressional Black Caucus, all calling on Louisiana lawmakers to create that second minority district. Given the denial and an extension, the legislature has until tomorrow evening to pass a map that has 2 minority districts. There have been 7 total maps sponsored or proposed for this session. If the deadline is not met or a map does not meet the court order, the judge will draw a new map. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals will begin its trial of the original map the first week on July. Their decision could take months to come through if the map violated the Voting Rights Act. Amid the party fighting over maps, one representative is switching sides once again. Representative Melinda White of Bogalusa has changed over to the Republican Party. Just a year ago, White switched from the Democratic Party to an independent. At the time, she said she didn't like the party politics. The change brings the state House GOP numbers to 69 out of the 105 members there. This week, multiple insurance companies announced they are pulling out of Louisiana. Lighthouse Excalibur says it is canceling policies. The Louisiana Insurance Commissioner says he's trying to give homeowners more time to find a new policy. Anam Siddiqui has the details.
Nearly 90,000 homeowners are left to find new insurance. Lighthouse Excalibur, Maison, and Southern Fidelity are canceling their policies in Louisiana.
The destructive hurricane season of the past 2 years have created a turbulent homeowners market. 4 insurers with Louisiana policyholders domiciled in our state failed in the aftermath of Laura, Delta, Zeta, and Ida.
The state insurance commissioner, Jim Donnellan, says companies are leaving the states because they can't afford to pay claims after natural disasters.
The magnitude of Ida claims that actually came in was significantly higher than Lighthouse's projections. In early March, their projection for damages had increased from $200 million to as much as $356 million.
Baton Rouge independent agent Andrea Allen says all agents across Louisiana are struggling to find policyholders insurance before the cancellation.
We've had about 30 days or so to move about 600 different homeowners insurance policies.
She says the states gave very little notice and a tight deadline. On Thursday, Donnellan extended some of the deadlines. Lighthouse and Maison will officially be canceled on June 30th. Southern Fidelity will be canceled on July 15th. Donnellan says homeowners can apply for last resort options like the state-run program Citizens, which was created for those who could not obtain private insurance elsewhere.
That was Anam Siddiqui reporting. Now an update on the investigation into the death of Ronald Green. District Attorney John Belton says the FBI wants to meet with him this week to go over the evidence. Belton represents Lincoln and Union parishes where Green died while in police custody. Green was pulled over in Monroe back in 2019. Body camera videos show he was handcuffed and beat by troopers. Belton has promised to call a grand jury once he gets a hold of the information, but would not comment on any specific charges he hopes to bring.
I've always said that I will move swiftly once I receive the investigative files from the federal authorities. And so it seems like I may get them on Wednesday. Strong possibility.
So we'll continue to follow that. Recent testimony at the Special House Committee investigating Green's death revealed some body camera video was withheld from Belton for several months during the Green investigation. He says this causes him great concern. In economic development news, Port Allen will soon be the home of a $800 million renewable energy facility. The Houston-based company Arbor Renewable Gas announcing plans to build in West Baton Rouge. This is going to create more than 1,000 jobs producing renewable gasoline and green hydrogen. Construction will begin late next year. The facility is expected to be in full operation by the year 2025. Well, should the National Guard be called in to combat the high crime and lawlessness in New Orleans, Governor John Bel Edwards would make that call. We'll let you know what he says about it next.
This is your local election headquarters.
Welcome back. After the Orleans Parish Criminal Court closed its doors on Monday, local officials were questioned about why. The Orleans Parish Sheriff Susan Hudson gave insight on the court's operations and what role law enforcement plays.
We are having a crisis of staffing, and that's why it sounded this alarm.
Over the weekend, a fight in Orleans Justice Center left one inmate dead and 2 others hospitalized. And another inmate died by suicide Sunday afternoon. This prompted Orleans Sheriff Susan Hudson to move deputies from Criminal District Court to the jail, causing the court to close.
She literally pulled the rug out from underneath the criminal justice system by withdrawing security from the courthouse.
Those criticizing Sheriff Hudson's decision say there are other options she could have taken.
Prioritize some deputies by putting the jail on lockdown for a couple of hours to seat whatever juries were scheduled to start today.
Sheriff Hudson says her decision to move deputies was based on who was able to go to the jail to provide additional security.
As we had others available, we were able to send some back to the courts. So that's what we're going to do every day.
When asked why she took deputies from Criminal District Court, she said it's because they're trained to work in the jail.
They've done that before, so they have that experience. So we're utilizing them more.
As for her plan going forward, Sheriff Hudson says minimizing the population by sending convicted inmates to the DOC and recruiting new deputies are her top priorities.
Starts with being able to lessen the number of people, bring back some employees, recruit really hard, and then use all of the resources we have right now at our disposal to keep the Orleans Justice Center safe.
Anna McAllister, WGNO News.
Trouble continues to brew in New Orleans, the New Orleans area detention facilities. Jefferson Parish deputies were called to the Bridge City Youth Center Thursday after a riot broke out there. According to deputies, 20 teens left their housing facility and took over various parts of the facility. It took about 2 hours for deputies to retake control of the center. One employee and 2 inmates were taken to the hospital with minor injuries.
This is the 4th time in recent memory that we've had to come in here and retake this facility, whether it's for a deficiency in staffing or a physical deficiency, and I'm not sure. I haven't spent much time in the facility except the times that we're here to try to help them retake it. But I mean, it's definitely something that's going to have to be addressed at some point.
Authorities believe that one kid escaped the facility. The Bridge City facility has been under ongoing investigation for riots and other issues. Governor John Bel Edwards is speaking out on different ways to solve Louisiana's high crime rate. This comes after videos went viral on social media of car stunts blocking traffic in New Orleans. If you take a look at this video here, you'll see people brazenly doing donuts and blocking off traffic, plus people waving guns and even jumping on police cars. Local leaders want Governor Edwards to bring in the National Guard to take care of the city's crime issue, but he says that's not an option.
National Guard are soldiers, they're not law enforcement officers. You have rules of engagement issues, and it's just that is not an answer. They are not day-to-day law enforcement officers. They're not trained as such.
There you go, no National Guard there. Edwards says the only time the state calls in the National Guard is during emergencies like natural disasters. The New Orleans Police Department says when officers arrived at the burnout, the suspects, including the spectators, fled the scene. A Republican U.S. Senator from Louisiana signs on to the bipartisan gun control legislation on Capitol Hill. You'll hear his reason next.
This is your local election headquarters.
Welcome back. A senator from Louisiana is putting himself in the room where major bipartisan gun reform legislation is being debated. Senator Bill Cassidy explained the deal he has helped make. Capitol reporter Shannon Hecht brings us the details and highlights the laws on the books in Louisiana.
Senator Cassidy says that he wants to pass common sense gun reform in the wake of the Texas school shooting. 20 senators, split evenly down party lines, came to an agreement that focuses on mental health services, red flag laws, and enhanced protections for victims of domestic violence.
So as we work on mental health, we hope to prevent these terrible tragedies, which only occasionally occur but are so awful, but also look at all the other things that affect our young people.
The bill would provide grants to states to pass red flag legislation, which would be a long shot in Louisiana. These laws give notice to firearm dealers if there is any concern of past records that someone could be a danger to themselves or others and could hold up the purchasing of a gun.
A troubled 18-year-old who, if an adult, would have things on his record that would prevent him from passing a background check. But because these acts were committed before 18, and at age 18 the records are locked away or expunged, then on the 18th birthday is able to pass a background check.
In the capital city, police have said there is a major rise in domestic violence involving firearms. Cassidy says the legislation will help the state pass laws to help victims.
That if a state chooses to have a red flag law, and it's up to the state has to preserve due process to determine that the individual is a threat to themselves. And
the full price tag for the bill has not yet been released, but there is a push to get the bill passed before the July recess. For your local election headquarters, I'm Shannon Hecht.
But already that gun legislation is causing a stir across party lines in Congress. Raquel Martin brings the details of how the plan is expected to move forward.
The bipartisan gun safety plan, designed to curb gun violence across the country, has hit a snag on Capitol Hill.
We don't know what the specifics are.
Thursday, Texas Republican Senator Ted Cruz said the bipartisan group of senators who brokered a deal Sunday have failed to introduce a real plan.
Well, at this point, we have a one-page talking points of bullet points.
The framework includes new mental health and school safety investments, would require anyone 21 and under to undergo a more stringent review process before purchasing a gun, and includes more money to help states adopt red flag laws, which allows family members to petition a judge and have the guns of someone deemed a danger temporarily removed. For Republicans like Cruz and Missouri Senator Josh Hawley, that's a deal breaker.
I've got major problems with most all of the red flag laws across the country.
Red flag laws can be used to disarm law-abiding citizens.
In the end, only 10 Republicans are needed to pass the plan in the Senate, and Democrats remain optimistic.
I have continued confidence.
Lead Democratic negotiator Chris Murphy says he believes the two sides can agree on a text by next week.
All we have to do is write text that is true to the framework.
Thursday, Speaker Nancy Pelosi said the House is ready to act once the Senate finishes the bill.
We're waiting prayerfully.
Also in Congress, new legislation aims to tackle inflation at the grocery store and at the gas pump. House lawmakers passed the Lower Food and Fuel Costs Act. It consolidates the meatpacking industry, makes cheaper gasoline more widely available, and lowers fertilizer prices for farmers. Many of the individual bills in the package are bipartisan, but they only got a small handful of Republicans to vote for it.
Republican colleagues who have been on television every night and on Twitter and on social media complaining about inflation. That's fair. What's not fair is to do nothing about it.
We need to slam the brakes on any policy that empowers more government bureaucrats and impoverishes the people.
The package now heads to the Senate, where Democrats are hopeful more Republicans will get on board. Up next, we'll have a look at the week ahead on your local election headquarters. Stay with us.
This is your local election headquarters.
Looking ahead to the coming week, State Representative Royce Duplessis will be the guest speaker at the Press Club of Baton Rouge tomorrow at noon. The New Orleans Democrat is expected to talk about what we've been talking about, the special redistricting session going on right now. Today is Juneteenth, and there are a number of events in Baton Rouge and New Orleans recognizing this holiday. Thank you for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Politics. I'm Fred Childers. Stay safe, stay informed, and I'll see you next Sunday right here on your local election headquarters.